Hey VC, it's Jonathan, your cheap and cheerful record collector. I hope everybody's doing well out there today. This is going to be part 2 of my series of videos I'm doing of compilations. Last one I did was of rock and roll compilations, and this is going to be all jazz compilations. I got a lot of jazz compilations. I find them very inexpensive, and I do love them. You find out about musicians you never knew before, because they're sort of buried in there, and you sort of dig it out, and who is that, and you look them up, and I love the compilations. But before I get started, I want to give a quick shout out or whatever to a book I'm reading now, which I'm really enjoying, and it's Nick Hornby, and we all know Nick Hornby from High Fidelity, and this is his book called Songbook and 5 More Essays, and he basically talks about music that has inspired him during his time growing up, and bands I know and bands I don't know. I mean, he has, of course, talks about Springsteen and Led Zeppelin and Rufus Wainwright and Santana and Dylan and the Beatles. And some, I know Annie DeFranco, but I don't really know her music intimately. Amy Mann, Suicide, Teenage Fan Club, The Bible. What else did he have here? Mark Mulcahy, the Velvetettes, O.V. Wright, Royksopp, Royksopp, the Avalanches, Soulwax, etc. Really interesting, fun stuff. Always he's just a good writer, easy to get through, and just a lot of fun. I enjoy his stuff, so I just thought I'd mention that. Nick Hornby Songbook. If you ever see it anywhere, if you can get a copy, definitely recommend it. Okay. Now what we're really here for is the records, vinyl. So, first 2 are actually represses. This is from 1980 repress, and Norman Granz originally put out a bunch of records. This is called Jam Session. And this is the first one they did, Volume 1, with a great cover by David Stone Martin. And this features Ray Brown, Barney Kessel, Oscar Peterson, etc. On the Verve label, I guess originally must have been on the Norman Granz label. But this is great. They did a whole series of these. I got 2 of them. Again, they're both represses. This one's from 80, I think the next one's from 78. In mono. Did a really nice job, and some great stuff on here. Oh, there's the back, by the way. Next one is the same series, Jam Session, and this is Jam Session number 4, also on Verve. And this one you have Stan Getz, Harry Edison, Count Basie, Freddie Green, Buddy Rich, and again on the regular Verve label. They don't even list the songs on the back of the cover. But really good stuff. And yeah, I'd like to get more of these Jam Session volumes, but if I see some up, I'll definitely grab them. About last year, I was at a local Goodwill, and they had all these jazz compilations that I'd never seen before at all, and most were in okay to really good shape. A lot of them were sort of from English bands and looked sort of cheesy, but some of them were great. I grabbed some that I could. First one I grabbed, which I really great, Rare and Hot, 1925-1930, with T. Roy Williams Orchestra, Memphis Jazzers, Wabash Trio, Cecil Scott's, Nashville Jazzers, all from the 1920s, 1929, recorded in New York. 1930, all New York in the late 20s. On Library of Congress, here it is. It's on a great label, historical label. Cool label. I couldn't find a date on this when the album was released, but the address on the back has a zip code on it, so it's got to be after 64. I think the zip codes came in, so it has to be after that. But that's a pretty good one. I like that a lot. Next one, another oldie. This one is really, I don't know where this came from. It's just called Hot Jazz. 1927, 1929. 16 rare performances by the orchestras of Carl Fenton, Benny Meroff, George Belshaw, Herb Weiderhoft, Herman Waldman, and others. A limited edition for collectors. And it's a glue-on cover. They just glued that on. There's no information on the back. And they have a list of the songs on the front. So I don't know if it's a bootleg or what it is. The old masters, hot jazz. But again, it's that real 1920s hot jazz, which I love. Not Dixieland, but hot jazz. Pretty cool. Pretty cool comp. The next two were just amazing to me. I picked them up because I thought the cover was cool, but as I got into them, they were better than I expected them to be. And this was at that same collection I got when I went to Goodwill. And this is called Jazz and Hot Dance in Italy, 1919-1948. This is volume 24. So obviously there are at least 24, actually the next one's 25, at least 25 volumes of this. And I was sort of hesitant because, you know, who knows what Italian jazz was in 1919, but this is pretty damn good. Again, this is a 1990 pressing from England on a Harlequin label. And if you like that old-time hot jazz, which I really love, this is the kind of thing I gravitate towards for sure, especially for less than $2. All in really good condition. West Sussex in England. This is done at 1990. So this is better than I expected it to be. I'll go from 1919, which is really old jazz, up to 48. And cool stuff. Next one is the same series, but it's from Chile, of all places. So this is Jazz and Hot Dance in Chile, 1926-1959, volume 25 of the series. This one was really good too. A lot of that Spanish rhythm added into this, being it's from Chile. Different Harlequin label, still pretty cool. And this was a great album. I really dug into each of these and found, you know, these are the kind of things you never see these bands. I never even heard of most of these bands, but just great stuff. Chile. Another one from that same time I was at Goodwill. Oh, another one I picked up this guy. I thought the cover was cool, and again, knew nothing about the band. And it's the Territory Bands. Don Albert and his orchestra, Ernie Fields, Carolina Cotton Pickers Orchestra, and the San Antonio Tamales. All these recorded in 1939, 1936, 37, and 38. On jazz, this is from Sweden, the Swedish pressing, on Jazz Information label. Another cool label, Jazz Information. Again, I couldn't find the, 1986. 1986 pressing, made in Sweden. They do songs like Chic of Araby, Blues at Midnight, High Jivin', Western Swing, Let's Get Together, I Don't Stand a Ghost of a Chance with You. Stuff we probably know, but so great. And again, the cover just grabbed me. I had to have it. And I think this is the last one. Yeah, this is the last one I got at that bunch of records. And this is something called a compilation called The Jazz Wizards. And this is 1925, volume 2. And this is, I just listened to this today again. This is pretty much New Orleans, Dixieland, but pretty great. All recorded in the 20s or 30s. 20s. Has a singer on side 2. Almost every song is, where did I see that? Oh, Chippy Hill, who I didn't know anything about her, but if they say here, they rate Chippy Hill as the 3rd best classic blues singer after Ma Rainey and Bessie Smith. And I got to agree, she's pretty great. So it's a great album, a bunch of different bands. Richard M. Albert Nichols, John St. Cyr, R.M. Jones, Bertha Chippy Hill, etc. And like I said, this one didn't have a date on it. It's in New York. Heroin Records Incorporated. Again, no date, but I'm thinking it's in the 70s. It's funny, when I saw that label, I thought it said Heroin Records, but it's Herwin, Herwin. So why would you put a record on Heroin Records? But no, it's Herwin. So if you like that New Orleans Dixieland, that's a good one. All right, the next one is sort of cool. I picked another Goodwill find from this a couple of years ago, actually. Another great jazz compilation, and it's called Women in Jazz. All Women Groups, Volume 1. I don't know if there ever was a Volume 2, but this is Volume 1 on Stash Records from 1978. U.S. pressing, Stash Records out of Brooklyn. The International Sweethearts of Rhythm. Mary Lou Williams, who I know, piano player. Norma Carson, who I don't know. Beryl Booker and Edna Williams, all different bands. The first song on side A is Digging Dyke. And the second song, A Woman's Place is in the Groove. Cat Meets Chick. Don't Get It Twisted. 7 Riffs with the Right Women. The Man I Love, and Body and Soul. Just really good stuff. Again, I don't know if there ever was a Volume 2, but this is pretty great. Stash Records. There's the label. Oops. So this one I really enjoyed. Stash Records put out a bunch of represses of stuff. They had reefer songs, pot, spoon, pipe and jug, T-pad songs, the early Viper Jive, Weed or Air Batch. So they put out a lot of stuff like that out of the mainstream. So I would definitely love to see some more Stash Records in my collection. But this is a great one. All recorded 1945, 46. The last one was 1954, so it goes up to 54, but mostly 40s. Women in Jazz. Excuse me while I take a drink here. That's better. Okay. Next one. This one I picked up, again, I just grabbed it because of one name on the record, and that synced it. I had to have it. And this is called The Saturday Night Swing Club is on the air, June 12, 1937, the complete 90-minute first anniversary program. And the first band is the Quintet of the Hot Club of France, live from Paris, with Django Reinhardt and Stefan Grappelli. So that was enough to make me say I had to have this record. So grab that first. Also has Benny Goodman Trio, Bunny Berrigan, Duke Ellington. It's pretty great stuff. This is, it says here, this broadcast was transferred from 23 12-inch acetate discs, cut at 78. They were rediscovered in England. Additional sets were cut for delayed broadcast in Canada, Australia, New Zealand, as well as USA. Blah, blah, blah. I think it's a French pressing. A product of Soundcraft Records, Inc., Kingston, Jamaica. Okay, that's sort of, didn't realize that. And this is the label. But yeah, all those jazz musicians, and yet it's a pressing from Kingston, Jamaica. Who knew? There's the back of it. So I had to get that because Django was on it. You can never pass up Django. I'm not even halfway through yet. Here's another one I picked up not that long ago. Let me see the cover off this. I don't need that anymore. This is called Fun on the Frets. This is early jazz guitar featuring Carl Kress, Dick McDonough, Tony Metallo, and George Van Eeps. 1940s, all 1940s, 1936 and 1940s on Yazoo Records. Love Yazoo, love their label. Yazoo. Again, as we're out in New Jersey. But great stuff. Really great guitar playing. When you hear some of these early guys, you know there's a lot more to jazz guitar than Grant Green. Though I love Grant Green. There's a lot more than just that. There you go. Pretty cool. Next one is a UK pressing I picked up. Again, most of these are not worth a hell of a lot. I mean, they're on Discog, medium price on almost all these are less than $10. Riverside Giants of Jazz, UK pressing from, I think it was 70s. Gatefold, tip-on, and it has everybody from Cannonball Adderley Quintet, Bill Evans, Johnny Griffin, Junior Mance, Charlie Rouse, Monk, Wes Montgomery, Nat Adderley, Woody Herman in his fourth herd. Anyway, just a great 2 LP set of great jazz out of Riverside. UK pressing. There's the Riverside label we all know pretty much. A little different because it's UK. But a lot of these, I mean, if you are just getting yourself into jazz and you find some of these compilations, it's a great way to sort of dip your toe in and hear some people you might not have heard before. All right, this is one of my favorites for stereo and mono equipment, the Bop Masters. And this is unissued and rare performances by Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Fats Navarro, Dodo Marmosa, Lenny Tristano. Some great stuff on here. This is Italian pressing. Again, no date on Chicala, I guess, label. And this is all recordings 45, 46 in that era. But again, you have, Dizzy Gillespie on here, Dizzyland Orchestra, Dizzy Gillespie with Charlie Parker, Milt Hinton, Ray Brown. It just goes on and on. It's just Max Roach on one of these things with Dizzy Gillespie, Dizzy Gillespie, Charlie Parker, Lenny Tristano on piano, Ray Brown, and Max Roach on drums. So a really great find. The Bop Masters, unissued and rare performances. So there's songs that we know, just different takes on them. It's all in Italian, so it's really hard to figure out when they were whether through. Oh, Los Angeles Jubilee Show, probably December 45. The Royal Roost in New York in 46, etc. Pretty cool. The Bop Masters. This one I picked up. Next one I picked up just because of one name again. I saw one name on the record, and I said, well, I got to take it home. And this was another Goodwill find, and it's called Das ist Jazz. And this is presenting Germany's leading jazz musicians, including recordings actually made at the German Jazz Festival. And the reason I picked this up is for one reason only, because Uta Hip is on here. So that was, she's a great piano player. And it has other people that I never heard of, but she's on a number of the songs playing piano. It's a Decca. I assume it's a U.S. pressing. It doesn't really say. So you don't know the regular black Decca label. But yeah, there's some good stuff on here for sure. And anything that had Uta Hip on it. I mean, she didn't record a lot, so whenever I see her name, I got to grab whatever I can find. So I was happy to do that. Das ist Jazz. Some piano music now. How about the Modern Jazz Piano 4 Reviews with Mary Lou Williams, Art Tatum, Errol Garner, and Lenny Tristano. Love that cover. On RCA Camden. Unfortunately, has this been? No. I thought it had been redone for stereo, but no, it wasn't. So this is an earlier one. If I can get the record out. The Camden, I think, is their lower level recordings. But still, great stuff on there. How about some West Coast jazz? Volume 3. West Coast Jazz, Volume 3. Chet Baker, Jerry Mulligan, Chico Hamilton, Art Pepper, Bud Shank, Russ Freeman. This is an original 1957 pressing on Jazz Tone. What was interesting, though, when I looked this up earlier, because I was playing this before, the original 57, which this one is, the median price on Discogs is like $5. The repress, which came out in 58 and 59, are like $15 median price. I don't get that at all, why the original pressing would be less than the other ones, but like Mazzy says, it's all about the music, stupid. So there you go, it's all about the music. And I got it. So Art Pepper does Old Crow, Chet Baker, Little Girl, Jerry Mulligan, There'll Never Be Another You, Chico Hamilton, Mr. Smith Goes to Town. Great stuff. Jazz Tone Records. Here's a label you don't usually associate with jazz, which is why I had to grab it. And it's Folkways. I love that cover. Jazz, Folkways. And Volume 4, this is the Jazz Singers. So this has Louis Armstrong, Jelly Roll Morton, Cab Calloway, Helen O'Connell, Jimmy Rushing, Dizzy Gillespie, doing Oop Papa Doop, which I love, Bessie Smith, Ma Rainey, Crippled Clarence Lofton, etc. Originally released 58. This is later because I can see the zip code on there, so I know it's have to be a later repress on Folkways Records. But you don't really associate Folkways really with jazz. They're more a folk label. So, and I love the cover on this one, so I had to grab it. All right, get in there. There we go. Jazz, Folkways. And the last two of these are both great. This is Kansas City Piano, 1936, 1941. What a great cover. And this has Count Basie, Pete Williams, Jay McShane, and again, Mary Lou Williams, who's all over the place on these. Yeah, so the first cut is Count Basie, The Dirty Dozen, and he also does Hey Lordy Mama, and then Oh Red. Mary Lou Williams does a couple of songs, Pete Johnson, and Jay McShane ends it up. On Decca Stereo. I've never seen this Decca Stereo label before. That's sort of cool. So obviously these were redone to simulate stereo, because all these recordings of 1938, 39, and 41. Yeah, it says on the front, enhanced for stereo. I don't know if it's enhanced, but there you go. And the last one of my favorites, the last of the Whorehouse Piano Players. Ralph Sutton and Jay McShane with Milt Hinton and Gus Johnson. Two Pianos, Volume 2 on Chaz Records. So there has to be a Volume 1 at some point. This out of New Hampshire, had to be in the 70s, I would say, maybe even the 80s. Don't know when this was recorded. I should have done my research better on this. Chaz Jazz Records. The last of the Whorehouse Piano Players. Recording studio, Premier Sound, New York City. Engineer, John Orr. Mixing, John Orr. Born in 22. Really doesn't say much about when this was recorded. But I'm going to say in the 60s or 70s. But the two pianos, the two of these guys go back and forth. It's just great. Great, great music on that. And there's Milt Hinton and Gus Johnson. So that's a sampling of some of my jazz compilations. Next one, I'm going to be doing the blues. And then the fourth and final one will be country and folk music together. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a like. And if you like the channel, please subscribe. And hope everybody's doing well out there. And until next time, peace.